Welcome to the nerd review of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game. Wow, that's a mouthful, but honestly guys, I'm really excited to talk about this game. I can't wait to jump straight into it. Real quick before we start today's video, just want to remind you guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and share this video with your friends and family. Also, leave in the comments, let me know what you think of this game, and what do you think about my ranking for this video. Without further ado, let's get it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the game, is yet another survival horror experience that takes elements from Dead by Daylight and creates its own innovative way of playing a game similar to this style. And while it's not your typical survival horror experience, it's still a really fun experience that allows you to feel the same vibes and feelings that you get from playing a survival horror game. It's all about trying to escape as the victims or trying to capture the victims as the family members throughout this game. So you have two different roles you can assume. One, the victims, or two, the family. The victims are the survivors trying to escape from the family who are trying to hunt them down. There are 5 different characters you can choose as the victim, each with their own unique abilities that stand out from each other and really complements your own game style and way you want to play the game. For example, there's a character known as Connie who has the ability to lockpick extremely fast by sacrificing some of her stamina, or even get rid of sacrificing her stamina if she gets it to a specific level. Or if you're more of a stealth player, Julie has the ability to cancel out some of the killer's abilities to track you, making it almost impossible to track down Julie as a family member. Or rather, you are a team player and you want to play as Sunny, who definitely has a great ability that allows him to track down the killer before they enter a room, and you can alert your fellow team members before they enter a room to make sure it's safe first. Like I said, there's so many different abilities, each character with their own unique ability that stands out from the others, and it's all about choosing which one fits your personal game style the most whenever you're playing as the victims. The only downside I have to this really comes down to the fact that I feel like some abilities are definitely a little bit more OP compared to the other characters' abilities. I'm not going to go too much into that because I have a separate video planned and will be going up tomorrow where I rank the victims by their abilities from first to last. So I'm going to save that for that video, but just know that one of the characters specifically, in my opinion, definitely has an ability that stands out way above and beyond the other characters' abilities, and I feel like they probably need to kind of balance it a little bit more. They might have to nerf that character's ability just a tad bit. And you notice this because even in the matchmaking lobbies, you have the ability to try to swap with a character that is using the character that you want to use, because in every single match, only one player can use a specific character. So you can't have, like, for example, 2 Sunnies running around. Now let's look on the other side of the spectrum for this game, and that is the fact that you can also portray the family. First off, the main thing I want to point out about this is that unlike Dead by Daylight, you don't feel as lonely playing the killer as you did with Dead by Daylight, because in this game there are 3 killers per team, meaning every single game will have 3 killers, meaning you will have someone else hopefully to be able to communicate with, whether it be your friends or the game lobby itself. Either way, the feeling of loneliness when you're playing as the killer is not here at all because of this aspect, and I definitely appreciate it, and I like the fact that we have 3 killers this time, and it's definitely actually balanced pretty well. Despite Dead by Daylight showing how having just 1 killer definitely overpowers the situation, and you definitely don't need more than 1 killer, Texas Chainsaw Massacre finds a way to balance that perfectly to where it's okay to have 3 killers in this game, and it works really well for the gameplay. Actually, I was pleasantly surprised. I was concerned coming into this game, worried about the fact that there's going to be 3 killers against 4 survivors, but it was actually done in a really good way, and I was pleasantly surprised. And just like with the victims, the family members has their own unique abilities that make them stand out. Again, if you want to go with people that are a little bit better at tracking, you can go with the Cook or Johnny, who both have amazing abilities that allow them to track down the victims. If you want to be more of a person that sets traps or can move faster, then the Hitchhiker or Sissy are much better to your game style. Or if you just want to go the damage route and just mess some people up dramatically, you can definitely go with Leatherface or even the Cook, who definitely can deal some massive damage. Either way, just like the victims, you have abilities that kind of fit unique playstyles, and you have different ways you can go about it when choosing your family member that you want to play as. For example, Sissy has the ability to spit out poison fire and can actually follow players through crawl spaces, which not most of the family members can do. Only one other family member is able to do that. Either way, like I mentioned already, it's so much more balanced than you might think whenever you look at the 4 survivors versus 3 killers, especially if you're going into this experience thinking about Dead by Daylight and how overpowered it was just to have 1 killer, let alone 3. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre did a fantastic job at finding that balance. A couple of additional things I want to talk about, both pros and cons. Go back to the fact that this game is definitely more fun with friends, or at least game chat. A lot of the different abilities in this game, both for the victims and the killers, rely on the fact that you have to be able to communicate with your team. For example, Sunny has the ability to kind of hear and find out if there's any killers inside a room before they enter it. If you use that ability and communicate that with your team, you can let them know where the killers are at all times and let your team know that it's safe to enter the room. The flip side of that is, of course, having the Cook be able to listen to an area and find out what general area a victim is located at, and then Johnny being able to track the steps of a victim. If you have those 2 characters together in the same area, it should be easy to pinpoint the exact location of that victim that they're both tracking, which means communication is definitely key when it comes to this game. So if you're not playing with your friends, then at least make sure you try to join the game chat if possible, because communication makes this game so much more fun and a better experience for everybody, not just you, but for your fellow teammates as well. Something else I wanted to point out, and this is on the negative side of things, the matchmaking isn't the greatest right now, and maybe it has to do with the fact that this game doesn't allow cross-gen with the older platforms. For example, matchmaking on day 1 and day 2, I had trouble getting into lobbies. It took a while for a game to get started. And then on day 3 of the game's release, I had a whole different issue where there was a situation where you couldn't join up with party members of other platforms because the code was messed up for the creating your own lobby. Meaning if I wanted to create a lobby and invite my PC friend from my Xbox, I couldn't do that because the code was all whacked and messed up and wouldn't work. So it was down for the entire day for the most part. It was fixed immediately following that day, but I just wanted to go ahead and point that out because I did see that as a negative. Also, I am extremely concerned for the longevity of this game. This game is a lot of fun. I have a very good time playing this game, and I'm probably going to be playing this game for a while. I can see myself playing this game with my friends all of the time. I have a lot of friends that has this game, and with it releasing day 1 on Game Pass, it allows a lot of players to have access to this game at no cost other than their monthly subscription for Game Pass. However, just like with Friday the 13th, I see an issue of this game becoming extremely repetitive unless they can find a way to make it more innovative in the future. The problem with games like this focus on one specific IP and it being a completely online experience is the fact that there's not a ton of different new characters you can add in terms of the villains to the game. You already have the entire family from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre lore, and there's only so much you can work with that lore. And with that thought process, it kind of concerns me because I don't really see how they can change anything to make it a little bit more innovative for experiences with this game a year from now. To me, it's always going to feel like the same experience every time I play it. Whereas if you compare it to a game in the same genre like Dead by Daylight, where when you add a new killer with new mechanics, it changes up the gameplay completely and definitely keeps it a little bit more new and fresh. Texas Chainsaw Massacre isn't able to do that except for maybe adding survivors to it and changing the victim side of things. But for me, that doesn't really change the game, the core mechanics enough to kind of make it innovative. I hope I'm wrong there because I'm having a lot of fun with this game, but I want to have fun with this game for years to come. And in order for that to happen, we need to find innovative ways to improve this game for the future to keep it fresh and new for gamers. Other than that, this game was fantastic. It was a lot of fun, a great experience. It definitely had me nervous and sweating in so many different moments throughout the game. And I definitely love my time with this game so far. And I plan on having so much more time with this game because I'm going to keep playing it because I'm having a good time. But you know what? We have to put a number on this. Well, there was a lot of things I really liked about it. And since I really do my reviews based off of the same genre that this game is in. I need to compare it to its competitors and what it does better and what it does worse. And with all of that considered, I'm pretty confident in giving it a score of 9 out of 10. Absolutely had an amazing time with this game. I think it's a great experience, and I think I'm gonna have a lot more fun with this game. Like I said, there's some small things that I'm a little bit concerned with in terms of the matchmaking and the longevity of the game itself, but overall the experience is still a good time. And if you haven't picked this game up yet, please give it a shot, especially if you have Game Pass. There's no reason in hell you shouldn't give this game a shot if you have Game Pass. Anyways, let me know in the comments what you guys think about my review. As I mentioned earlier, I am going to do 2 other videos on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. One coming out tomorrow talking about the victims and ranking the victims by their abilities from worst to best, and doing the same thing the following day with the killers, the family members. So make sure you subscribe so you can go ahead and check those videos out whenever I release them in the next few days. And also hit that bell icon if you want to stay updated every single time I get another video posted, which is usually every single Monday through Friday. I usually post a list video, review video, or something related to games. Usually survival horror, but you'll see me branching out every now and then. Anyways, thanks for joining me on this nerd review, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and let me know your opinions of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and if you like this game or not. But as always, I will see you guys on the next episode of Nerd Space Games. Take care.